When Disney created Tangled and released it in theaters, and basically introduced what would be known as a hybrid, a blend of 2D animation and 3D animation, CGI, they unexpectedly ended up having a hit on their hands. Like I said, Disney unexpectedly, or maybe to the expectations, had a huge hit on their hands, because here they had a CGI animated film that was in the style of the Renaissance 2D animated films. But when you watch Tangled, especially you get towards the end, one of the things that always stuck out to people is how, well, not how, but basically the fact that Rapunzel still had magic within her even after Eugene cut her hair. And that was always the plot point about Rapunzel's hair, and why Mother Gothel wanted to keep her hidden. She wanted to keep her hidden because she had the power of the sun drops that would help heal the wounded. In a sense, as we see at the end of the movie, bring back the dead, even if they just died moments prior. Or in the case of Mother Gothel, restore her youth. But ever since the ending, like I said, and people obviously were questioning, how does she still have the magic within her when a majority of it was, because of her hair? Well, when it was announced that Disney was going to do a Tangled series several years later, it seems that perhaps the people behind the series knew that they had to answer that question themselves. They knew they had to come up with a scenario to kind of explain why Rapunzel's hair, or basically why Rapunzel still had the magic of the sun drops, and mostly, as the advertisements showed, why she was able to grow her hair back. So, with that being part of the promotional ads to promote the new series, again, the writers knew that they needed an opportunity to kind of answer that question as to how Rapunzel could still have the magic of the sun drops. And what they have done in this past recent season with this new story arc, thus using this story arc to connect everything together, I'll have to admit it's surprising. It's very surprising that they've gone this route. Now, is this anything new to storytelling, animation, live action, whatever? Absolutely not. But to have them do it in a series like Tangled, and to do it with the main character Rapunzel, and thus, in a way, give an explanation as to why her hair was able to grow back, thus making the connection of these black rocks that appeared in the first season have meaning to them, have a reasoning to them, and thus that reasoning being part of a connection to Rapunzel and to the power of the sun drops. I have to say it's very masterful. But here's what's interesting about the scenario they got going on in the Tangled series right now, and it's gotten everybody talking. It's the fact that when you look at what these moondrops, as they're called, the dark magic, the moondrops, are capable of doing, they're doing the exact opposite of what Rapunzel's original powers, or the original sun drop powers, had done before. Instead of healing, they destroy, they kill. And again, even though I haven't watched the series that much, I do pay attention to what people say. And one of the things that was always talked about was Rapunzel couldn't heal anymore with her hair. So she always wondered, like the fans, why can't she do that? And now we know why. Because basically, as Wotso and several others have pointed out, the moment she came in contact with these mysterious black rocks, not only did it cause her hair to regrow, but it caused it to regrow in a way that was similar but completely different than before. But the ultimate question is, what is the end game in all of this? Well, because of the fact that when Rapunzel touched the black rocks in this season, or a certain kind of rocks, they opened a path to the Dark Kingdom. Now, throughout this season, from what I've been hearing people talk about, including Wotso recently, basically this Dark Kingdom is the center of where this dark spore is at. This moon spore, whatever it's at, or whatever it is located. And thus, this is why Rapunzel is heading in that direction. It's created a path for her and her friends to go down to find the answers they seek. But there could be more to that. Like I said, like I was asking, what is the end game? And is there more to it? And I think there is. One, again, maybe it's just experience watching these kind of stories unfold in the past, or reading these kind of stories throughout media, whether it's television, movies, or comics. But usually when you have a scenario like this, it's being done on purpose. Someone's making Rapunzel and her friends go down this path to seek the answers they need. Someone's pulling the strings. And it's basically revealed by Wotso, by Isaac in his video, that there's a warlock, an ancient warlock that had the power to do things, to create scenarios, to corrupt. So I wouldn't put it past the creative staff behind the show to have this warlock's spirit, his essence, reside inside of this Moondrop. And that he himself is the reasoning, the mastermind behind what's going on, and trying to corrupt Rapunzel into being this new vessel for the dark magic, if not a new vessel for him. Yeah, that's what I think could be the part of the end game. Is with Rapunzel acting like a vessel for this new dark magic, which is the opposite of what the sun drops were. It's almost like he's preparing her to become his vessel to reside in, take over. Thus, be his way to come back into the living by controlling, taking over, and corrupting Rapunzel, and making her his new host body, or making her his new host body for his essence, for his presence. I believe that could be what the end game is. However, though, that might not be exactly what happens. People, I'm pretty sure, are speculating maybe it's Mother Gothel. But how can that be, since she died in the movie? How can that be? And again, maybe she knew about him. I mean, everybody wants to know why she tried to keep Rapunzel hidden so well. Maybe she knew about the black magic, about the dark magic from these rocks. But also realized that even though it could destroy the one thing she needed to keep herself young, it could also be a source for vengeance in case her plans backfire, in case Rapunzel finds out the truth, or Well, like I said, people could speculate that it's Mother Gothel, well, like maybe this is the final part of revenge for her, and that the reason she kept Rapunzel so well hidden is because she knew about the black rocks. She knew of what could happen if Rapunzel came in contact with that dark magic, and basically the fact that the fact that it could corrupt the magic she needed to keep herself young, and thus kind of quickly speed forward basically the aging process on her, more so than the regression, the re-aging, or the de-aging. But then again, like I was trying to say, maybe she knew about that, and that's why she kept Rapunzel hidden. But maybe she also knew and as much of a danger as she saw those rocks to be, she also saw them as a source of power for revenge, just in case Rapunzel would find out the truth, or the royal family would succeed in finding her. So there's that theory, and there's a possible theory that maybe she put a part of her essence into the rocks to kind of make sure that if, let's say, she's defeated, she's taken out, if you will, that she'll still be able to live on, possibly within these black, dark, magic rocks, and thus, like I mentioned about that warlock, maybe use some kind of spell and incantation that would allow her essence, or what little of it was left, to go with it, to that as soon as Rapunzel came in contact with them, to flow into Rapunzel. And that's why when Rapunzel says the enchantment, her hair turns a very similar jet black of that of a young Mother Gothel. So it makes you wonder, could Mother Gothel be behind this, and maybe part, and like I said, maybe part of her, maybe she, like I said, Mother Gothel obviously knew about the rocks. You can't deny that. So maybe she saw the dangers they presented, especially to her, when it came to probably corrupting the healing magic that the sun drops had. But also she saw the potential they had for revenge, just in case, like I said, things would backfire. And who's to say she didn't maybe, find a spell that allowed her to put part of her essence, or transfer part of her essence, her soul, into these black rocks, so that if Rapunzel was to ever come in contact with them, it would transfer a part of that portion of her soul into Rapunzel. Thus, she'd be able to live once again, but it would be a slow, corruption and takeover. And again, it kind of makes sense when you see Rapunzel, when she does the enchantment, how her hair goes completely jet black, just like Mother Gothel's. But that could be one way they do the end game to this entire situation. But more than likely, I would go with the warlock. In his essence, his presence, still residing within this Moondrop or whatever it is, and he being the mastermind behind this, and thus him being the one that's leading Rapunzel and her friends to the Dark Kingdom, so he can completely try to corrupt and take over Rapunzel and use her body as a vessel, as a host, for him to come back to the living once again and try to take over. There's got to be a reasoning, as to why these black rocks suddenly appeared, and to me, that possibly is the more likely end game. Now, even though that could be the most likely end game, the other scenario people would probably look at is what one person said. One person on YouTube called the Nerdy Girl Maddie said through text, because her voice recorder was broken, she said that basically, in one of those text boxes, she said that Rapunzel was now both the sun drops and the moon drop. She was both of those magical items now, because they both reside within her. Now, I wouldn't say Disney would do this, but I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they basically went as far as to completely turn, or have Rapunzel completely turn into a bird by sacrificing her freedom to restore her friends. And by the way, that episode won multiple Annie Awards. However, so I wouldn't put it past Disney to try something. But what if the end result, the final climax in this Endgame, or the final resolution, is for Rapunzel probably to use a spell that would turn her into a flower, but temporarily. And basically it'd be an exact copy of the Moondrop. What if that was to happen? It wouldn't be surprised. I would not put it past Disney to do that, because we have seen, I have seen, honestly, a lot of different shows and animes and movies and whatever do that, where a character that has Rapunzel-like hair lays down on the ground and becomes one with nature to help heal the entire world, if not the entire kingdom. So again, I would not put it past Disney to probably have Rapunzel do something like that, where she basically merges with nature and becomes multiple sunflowers, Moondrop flowers, if you will, to heal the kingdom, to finally rid the darkness, not just from the kingdom, but from the world. And that after it's all said and done, and even though it may look like she's now just a bunch of Moondrop flowers, we see this big one maybe come out of nowhere, rise up, and we see Rapunzel, and we see the bulb of it, blossom, and we see Rapunzel slide out of it, like she's now cured, but she had to make that temporary sacrifice and transformation to help save the world. Not saying Disney would go that route, but I wouldn't put it past them, especially, like I said, after going as far as they did with having Rapunzel completely become a bird, if not temporarily, to save her friends. But in the long run, we don't know what the end game is going to be. We don't know if it's just going to be them finding out the truth about the history of the Moondrops and the Moondrops and how they should have never been tampered with. Or we find out that maybe it's this warlock that's behind it, like I said, and he's just luring Rapunzel and her friends to the Dark Kingdom so he could corrupt her completely and take over her body and use her body as a new host and vessel to come back into the world of the living. We don't know if maybe it's Mother Gothel that's probably going to do something like that, because she may put part of her essence into the Black Rocks, knowing that even though she wanted to keep Rapunzel far away from those because she knows what could have happened, it's part of her revenge just in case, things would backfire. We don't know that. We don't know if it could be her. We don't know if maybe, and we don't know if maybe the end game is, like I said, for Disney to take a page out of some playbooks of the past where Rapunzel just lays down, merges with the ground, becomes one with nature, and thus, because of this merging and all that, she turns into multiple Moondrop flowers, and then maybe at the end we have this big freaking Moondrop flower come out of nowhere, open up its bulbs or its petals, and out comes Rapunzel, kind of slides down. She kind of like I said, opens up its petals, and out comes Rapunzel. It kind of like gently puts Rapunzel back on the ground. And we've seen that before in multiple different mediums. But in the end, we don't know what the end game's going to be. But I will say this, even though I don't watch the series, from what people have said and talked about, this is an arc that whether you watch the series or you don't, is going to get you to start talking and wondering what are they going to do next. It's the same with the new DuckTales series. They're previewing what's going to come out in May, but we don't know what the end game is for season 2 or even season 3. We don't know. So I'm going to keep my ears and eyes opened to what's going to be happening. I may not watch the series, but I'm going to, like I said, keep my eyes and ears open to what other people have to say about it, read what other people have to say about it, and what they're speculating could be the next stage in something like what we're getting with Tangled. So that's all I'm going to say, guys. Let me know what you think down below, though. What are your thoughts? What do you think the ultimate endgame will be in this story arc on the Tangled series? And that's all I'm going to say, guys. So till next time, God bless. Take care. I'm out.